Good morning, everybody. It is Open House the podcast. There we go. Now, did that play on your end? Because I have no idea where we're at in the intro.
You don't, yeah. Welcome. Good morning. Hi, everybody. We're just, figuring things out as we go.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to change this to this, and there we go. That's going to be it today. Am I frozen, by the way?
No.
Okay, I'm frozen on my end. I can't today. This is fun. We are remote right now, and we are showing you exactly why we don't go remote that often.
Exactly.
Because this is not as easy as you would think. I have no idea why I'm not moving right now, but it's driving me nuts. Or why when I switch to this camera angle, there I
This is bad.
There we go. We're professionals. This just takes me back to last week.
Crazy. All right.
This just takes me back to last week when we were told people will pay to be on this show. So welcome to Open House Podcast.
Welcome.
I want to try to move us to this scene, but I can't because my camera's stuck on this scene. Oh, now my camera's stuck all together. All right, good enough. There we go. Got it. Oh, fixed. Sometimes all you got to do is play it around a lot. Yeah. So welcome to Open House Podcast. I am Johnny Awesome. With me as always. He definitely is something, summer, something, everybody. Yay! I don't know. There we go. I actually have sound effects on here. Nice. They can hear it. We can't. So this will be fun for us to rewatch.
I heard it.
Did you hear it? Boy, this is something. This is something. Did you hear our intro music playing?
Yeah.
Okay. So the good news is the intro is.
I'll tell you that. You'll see.
Okay. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to rewatch this. This will be great. But welcome to Open House Podcast. This is an exciting episode for me, actually, because we actually, talking to you a little bit about this last week, Summer, we actually get to talk a little real estate, something that we have not done too much on the podcast, because even though it's a podcast with two realtors on it, we happen to talk a lot of success principles and do things with other folks that come on as well. But today we actually get a chance to talk about real estate and our journeys. And me and Summer are both on journeys right now, which is really fun.
It is.
I feel we're both. Look at us go. We're both in real estate now. Yay! One of us is thrilled, right? It's real estate is an interesting field because real estate is one of those fields that it really does touch everything, and you can do almost anything because it branches off of real estate.
It's limitless.
So I've always liked being in real estate. Also, I'm noticing that one of my pictures has fallen sideways, and it's going to drive me nuts this entire show. There we go. All fixed. Not fixed.
Oh, gosh.
Do you see it? Now it's going to drive you nuts the entire show.
Yeah, I see it now.
So let me tell you about that picture. This is actually interesting. We can play a little game. What's inside the house? You can't see that from there, can you?
No.
If I zoom in, which I'm not going to do, I don't want to try. Maybe I can. Let me see if I can zoom in from here. Let's see. There. That is a picture of me standing in front of a bunch of pumpkins for sale and then on a trailer tractor collecting pumpkins. Oh, did we ever have this conversation, Summer, about nicknames?
Yeah.
And do you remember what mine was? Did we actually have this?
Yeah, you told me.
Do you remember what it was?
Mm-hmm.
What was it?
John Bob.
No. That's old. Don't bring that up. Stop. Now I know why you're hesitant. No, that was a middle school thing that will be completely cut out of this podcast. So way back in the day when this picture was taken, I'm bad at that angle math here. My parents called me Punk, but it wasn't like because he's a punk. It was Punk because I used to call pumpkins pumpkins.
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin. Yep.
That's funny. I went through a phase where I would say pumpkin. I'm like, "You're my pumpkin."
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say all the time.
So here's something that's interesting. I am not a fan of pumpkin pie. Now I've got to remember to say it right. I'm not a fan of pumpkin pie or any of that other stuff. I do love pumpkin seeds. But
Yeah.
when I was a little kid, we grew pumpkins. My mom grew pumpkins out in the garden. And I used to go out there and grab them and put them up by the front road. And I used to sell them by the front road. I'd just sit out there with a sign like a homeless guy. I was 3, by the way. And I would just sell pumpkins.
Yeah.
And I made money doing it. Here's
Cool.
a fun story. One time, I decided that I was going to take my baby sister along with us. And I figured, well, if you can sell pumpkins on the street, you for sure can pick all the vegetables in your mom's garden and go door to door with your 3-year-old little sister while nobody is watching, leave the house and be gone for hours on end, walking down the streets unguided and sell vegetables door to door. So I did that. I took my sister, I put her in my little red wagon. We took all the vegetables out of my mom's garden. And when we showed back up, I had some very angry parents and a very frantic mom because we had been gone for some time. I don't know how long we were gone for. I can't remember if it was this time that the police got called or if it was another time. But I do remember this very vividly. We came home with a coffee can full of money
Yeah.
and a cart that was full of vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
So people were just giving us money because we were showing up. And obviously, it must have looked like we were like 2 little poor kids from like England, like, hello, can I please have some more?
I did something kind of similar when I was younger. I used to make jewelry.
Oh,
So like I'd make bracelets and necklaces and earrings, and it was so fun. I actually still have all of those. I have beads, I have string, I have hooks, I have everything. A whole three drawer storage
yeah.
full. Yeah, so I would make jewelry and then I'd go outside and I would set up a little thing and I'd sell my jewelry. And it was fun. People would come, they'd buy from me. Looking back, uh, it wasn't like, very good quality. A lot of their stuff probably fell apart and stuff like that. But they'd be like, keep the change. Here's a 20 or something. And I'm like,
That's incredible.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and then I remember my cousin became a part of it. My cousin, he's like a year older than me, so we were similar in age, and we'd hang out all the time. And when he realized I was making money at the stand, he was like, he he was like basically positioned himself to be the manager of the whole operation.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was just so funny looking back now. It was like we were ready to start a business.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. I think if you look for clues, I think that people that are entrepreneurs, especially in the field of sales, I think that you can tell those clues early on. We ask a lot of the people that we've had on our show, like, when did you know? And what was it about your child? People will a lot of times they skip that just because it's just something that they did. It
Yeah.
didn't feel like a decision. You
You
just
don't see
did
the
that.
connection. That is
Yeah,
true
yeah,
because, it's not something I thought about until now.
right. Yeah, it's one of those things where you just like it's just something that I did.
Yeah.
And those pumpkins, the vegetable thing was really to this day, by the way, my parents have never told me how much money I made going door to door. The only thing that I remember is I didn't get to keep it. They took that tin can.
Well, you just pulled all their vegetables.
Well, I'm sure that they could have gone to the store and rebought all the vegetables I took because in my head, I made thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
If we have a can that's full or open, and we were gone for a long time, it was I think it was my first door to door activity.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting
Funny
what
too,
happens.
because I'm sure you realize even when you were going door to door, you were kind of like, oh man, this is a lot of work, right?
I don't think I ever thought of it that way. If
That's neat.
it's you, what's the first memory you remember? Like a good memory, because we always can remember bad. Like, do you remember being 3 or 2?
I have memories, yeah. I would say I feel like a memory that always comes to mind is I remember when I lived in Chesterfield. I was probably about 4 or 5. And whenever I think back to my young age and like that time of my life, I always picture like this scene in my head. And it was when I was going so we lived in like a condo complex, and there was like a community park like in our backyard, you know? So I remember going outside to the park, and I was just a young girl. And then I remember seeing another little girl, like just about my age and everything, and she was kind of acting like me, a little bit shy, and like kind of had her head down. She's playing by herself. And we we ended up becoming, she was the first best friend I ever had.
Oh,
Yeah, and that when I think back to those days, I think of like the condo that I lived in, because I remember like talking like my I remember watching my mom get ready, doing her hair, and I would sit and just watch her do her makeup and stuff like that. And yeah, memories like that. I feel like that's as early that I remember.
how old do you think? How old do you think you were when you used to sit and watch your mom do her hair?
I was so young. I was probably like,
Yeah.
I say 5, but it's 4 or 5.
Okay. Like,
Yeah,
can you actually
I
like
can picture it in my head.
can
I
you
remember
can picture it very vividly?
she had red hair at the time. She had like this pixie cut going on, but like
Okay.
kind of longer. And I always thought my mom was like the most beautiful, and I was always in awe of her. And yeah,
Do you have a picture of her with her pixie cut that you can put on our Facebook page?
I do, of
You
course.
should
Yeah,
do that.
I
Kevin,
will.
edit that in. Kevin, by the way, was the name. Uh that's so like when you go back and you remember that, like, can you put yourself, this is one of the things that I constantly try to do right now. Can you put yourself back into your 4-year-old brain? Like can you almost go back there and then think how you were thinking then?
Yeah.
But like,
Oh yeah, I think about that often actually.
yeah, yeah.
When I was younger, all I wanted was to grow up. Like watching
Really?
watching my mom, like I wanted to be an adult. I wanted to get in the mirror and like do my hair and do my makeup, and I just wanted to be a grown up so bad.
Huh.
So bad. And then I remember I started to be a grown up, and I was like, "Wait."
I forgot. I only watched my mom get ready. I never watched my mom pay taxes.
Right.
Uh,
Well, you kind of I romanticized it. I thought like growing up was like I just romanticized it.
yeah, yeah. Which it still is. Could be a cool thing, I guess. I feel like I got stuck somewhere between 13 and 16, and I've been stuck there ever since. I
That
think
is
that
true.
I think that's just kind of where I ended up.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's interesting because, like, each year you grow a year older, but it's like I feel like a lot of people are like, okay, so like even when you turn 30, right? Everybody's like, I'm 30, and you have all these plans, like it's a big deal. You're in your 30s now, right? And I just feel like most people are they're like, wait, I don't, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, am I
Yeah,
doing this right? Am I acting my age? Am I doing what I should be doing at my age? But I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling and your energy and personality is just younger, happier. Why not?
yeah, yeah. Or who really defines that, right? Like it's interesting, but it's when to go back to I think your question. Maybe I made it up in my head. Um, the thought process going back. Oh, of when I was going door to door. I really wish I could remember like what my thought process really was during that time, and
I
I think it's one of the
remember
reasons. What's that?
so after I made all this jewelry,
Yeah, let's talk about yeah.
it took me a long time to make this jewelry. So making jewelry is very meticulous, right? You're
Sure.
picking up one thing at a time, putting it on, and sometimes you let go of the string and the whole thing falls apart. You have to start over.
Yeah.
So I remember after like the sale, and then my cousin comes in and he's like, I'm gonna manage this. He's like, we need to make more jewelry. It's gonna be big. And I'm like, okay. And I get to work, and I'm like, I remember I was like, dude, this is a lot of work. I was like, I can't just sit here and make jewelry all day, every day. Like, I want to go outside and play on my bike. I
Yeah.
want to go do this. I was the kid that wanted to go outside and play all the time. I was like, I want to go outside. And yeah, I remember that feeling. I was like, this is maybe too much work. What did I sign up for?
Which is hilarious because all of a sudden somebody took your business over.
I think it's so funny. looking back, and it's like he has the personality where he comes in and he's like, all right,
Yeah.
let's get this going. He's like a year older than me too, which is funny because he's also very young. He's like 9 and I'm 8
Yeah.
when this is
That's
happening.
funny.
Yeah.
So how did you sell your jewelry?
We just set up a table outside
You
and
literally just let cars drive by and they would buy like a lemonade stand, but with jewelry?
yeah, right in front
That's
of my house.
hilarious.
Yep.
Uh,
People would stop. And I
look,
made signs. I remember a jewelry sale.
oh, that's great. That's
Yep.
great.
So
I love
people would
that.
see, yeah. And then I don't know what they were expecting, but then they'd come up and see two a little boy and a little girl selling jewelry. And
Some
then
guy's like,
my
when's
cousin,
the
like he's
Rolex?
hustling these people.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, yeah, $5 is okay. He's like, no, I need 10.
that's hilarious.
It was funny. Good times.
What do you remember? And early on, this is funny. I'll tell you mine. Do you remember early on, like when you were trying to sell your jewelry or anything like that, and you had a moment where you were like embarrassed or it was a fail, or yeah, what was that like?
Yeah, when I felt like people didn't like my jewelry or something,
Yeah,
like the design, or I would be like, maybe pick this one. And then they'd pick a different one. I'd be like,
really? You'd be
yeah,
like,
it
this one
kind of
would
hurt
fit you
my
perfect,
feelings.
and they go, oh,
Yeah. But not fully. I just enjoy doing it. I was just
yeah, yeah,
yeah, I like, and that's still something that I do. So it's like I find these not odd, but like just, oddity type hobbies. Like I
yeah,
crochet. I went through a huge phase of crocheting and like making blankets. So now I have like so much yarn and all the means to make things. And then I still have all my beads. Like I'm not going to get rid of them.
yeah.
You remember when I was painting all the time? I don't know if
No,
you remember, but so I
uh-uh.
did like the paint by number phase.
Oh,
I
fun.
would sit and paint by number like every day, and it was so fun. But yeah, I like to do projects, and then the thing about me is I don't always finish the project.
Well, no kidding. On to the next. That's the
Most
ADD
of the
thing right
time, I
there.
don't. I get this high, I go do it, and I'm like, this is what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it, and then I'm like, I'm over it.
You know, let me tie that into business real quick because this is something that if you remember me doing, and I'm going to do this publicly here in a while, but if you remember me doing the entrepreneurial cycle, emotional cycle of change, you start with that emotional high in phase one of something's new, I want to learn it. As most real estate agents have ADHD, one of the things that happens is we'll find something that we think we want to do, and we do want to do it, and then we go all in on it. Like all of a sudden, we have all the things, every bead, every string, the machine, the whatever, every piece
Yeah,
of
like
yarn, the hooks.
everything that you need, you have
You got
now.
you over need, right? You get
Yeah,
stuff that you're like, you don't even know what this is, and
you
that's how
spend
I ended up
all
with a
this money.
saxophone.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you see the clip? Did you see the video? Did you see the clip of me playing the saxophone for the first time ever?
No.
I was on this TV show. I took a saxophone and I literally unpackaged the
I
sax.
didn't
That
see the
saxophone's
clip.
been sitting in my house for a year.
Where's
It
the
was
clip?
I don't know, social media. Maybe I
You
haven't done
gotta
it yet.
share it
Maybe I
on your
thought I did it.
you gotta share it on your
How
personal.
much money is in the can? But it's funny because that's exactly what we do. We get off on these projects. I was really big into whittling for a while. In fact, I have this gnome that I started right here, and then it's funny. This is right here, and then this penguin. So you can see how far I got on this penguin. And I think it was about the time I did the penguin that I was like, well, I'm done whittling now. And look how
It is.
like, so
It's
far
pretty, yeah.
I got the design on there. I got the corners done,
Yeah.
and that was that. One day I'll finish it. Do I have one day? Oh, and here's another. Here's a sword that I was in the middle of making. So I got like 4 or 5 projects.
Yeah, project started.
But that's the thing though. And sometimes in real estate, one of the things that we have to do is we have to realize that we do the same thing all the time. Agents, I hear them all the time. They want to put in this new strategy on Instagram, or all of a sudden they saw an ad from some guy that was like, don't tell people that you know what you're talking about. Act like you're an idiot, and then get them to tell you all the stuff. And they're like, I got to try that. And I'm like, listen, you got to buy the rest of his course. Like he's giving you anyway. it's interesting because throughout my career of coaching agents, there's always like this new thing, the new CRM. There's this new whatever, and at the end of the day, it always comes back to just doing the basics, right, and getting those basics done. Now, the problem is, again, with our personality types, with 80+% of real estate agents being ADD, we're always chasing after the new shiny thing, and sometimes the new shiny thing really does work, and we have to stop doing the things that don't work. For instance, yellow pages probably isn't a good idea to continue to put your ad in the yellow pages.
Right.
Just, I wouldn't do it. Benches, never really a good investment in the first place. Same thing with shopping carts. I've always been against shopping carts. I can't believe people are still putting ads in shopping carts. I make fun of that all the time. Why? Because the only people that ever notice that you're on a shopping cart are the people that are already in the business, already know who you are. So yeah, it works a little bit to rebrand you there. But if the purpose was to get new clients, you're not getting new clients out of shopping carts. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that people will do. And nowadays, especially, you've got personal shoppers, the number of people. It's funny because we jump into these things. And I always ask agents, who's the last person that you saw on the shopping cart before you thought about purchasing a shopping cart ad?
You know what's funny? Yeah, you don't notice. I realized that because I knew someone who went on a shopping cart, but like it was just when I only looked because I was looking for it.
That's it.
Yeah. And then I realized in that moment, I was like,
let me ask you a question.
I do not notice
ever.
I didn't even know that there was pictures on there. And I was kind of like, I need to be more aware. Like,
but see, it's because it's so passive.
It is.
You're not paying attention to it unless you're looking to pay attention to it.
Grocery shopping, you're thinking about dinner, you're thinking about how much money am I going to spend here, you're thinking about what aisle am I going to go to. You're not.
If you got kids, you're never paying attention to the cart ever. And one of them is taking it.
Especially for people like, where your brain is just.
Now, here's something. See here, this is how crazy this is. So at like probably our favorite place of all time, Paint Creek Tavern, right? The placemats that are there, I've never paid attention to this. Do they have advertisers on the placemats? Do you know?
No.
You know that for sure?
Yeah.
Because it looked like you had to think. See, that's the thing. Like even that
kind of thing. I'm like, no.
See, even that, like the placemats and stuff like that. Again, like I get that it's a good thing to do. Now, I'll give you a tip.
Maybe one thing that like is advertised at Paint Creek Tavern, there's a lot of beer companies that come in and they want to advertise their beer at the bar because it's a very popular bar and there's a lot of taps, right?
Yeah.
So there's a sticker door with like different beer companies. Oh, shnikes. I got to plug in my computer. But yeah, there's like a door that's like dedicated so like people can come in, like these beer people and they can put their sticker on the door, and that's as far as it goes.
That's it. Yeah. And somebody might actually look at that and be like, okay, cool, that's something that but again, that advertising is not there. And that's why it always goes back to what is the purpose of what you're doing. And this is especially when you find something new, if it's a craft or whatever. Listen, if it's going to bring you joy for a while, like I said, man, I probably got more half-started projects and crafts and out here than anybody I'd ever come across. I would
do agree. If it's going to bring you joy or give you like some peace or some zen, like if I was sitting and making jewelry, or if I'm sitting and crocheting, or I'm sitting and I'm doing this paint by number, 100% of the time I'm in a relaxed situation.
Yeah.
And I am calm and I have like an hour or something where I'm literally just going to sit down.
Yeah.
And do this, activity.
Yes. Which now you don't find that hour anymore.
Yeah, and it's relaxing and you enjoy it.
Yeah, that's how I got into puzzles, which is the last thing I ever thought I'd get into.
So I do want to say today, because it's about 10:15, definitely I want to circle back to what you started with at the beginning.
Yeah, I was just about ready to get there.
Talk about it, yeah, but I did want to just point out I need a hard stop. 10:30, 5 we'll do.
I got you.
I got a 40-minute drive ahead of me. So everybody who's watching, nobody
We'll cut
is
this out.
watching. Just so
No,
you, yeah. This
I
is why
got you.
we're doing from home, because we got some appointments today.
This is really on the fly. We're now making plans for when the show's going to end live while we're on the show. It works. So yeah, so I do want to circle back. I do want to finish with this one point though, and that is when it comes to your hobbies and your crafts. Sorry. Listen, dude. So can you hear that in the background? Is that being picked up on the mic?
A little bit.
Okay, good. Then I won't even mention it, and people can just wonder. So if it's gonna be your hobby, and it's gonna be something like you said. Now you can hear it, can't you?
Is that your bird?
What's that?
Is that the bird?
Where? You're going to. It's one thing if it's going to bring you some joy, and like you said, and it gives you a chance to just relax. When it comes to business, however, we got to be really careful with that stuff because what happens a lot is people will start to do one thing that works for them, and then they'll stop and they'll flip. In fact, if I may, you're a really good example of that. You were doing really, really good, and then you stopped doing the thing that you were doing when you were doing good, and you flipped. But you're not alone. That seems to be every agent, and we forget. And I'll tell you, there's a program out there that's got started by a group of Keller Williams people, and I can't remember the name. I'd love to give him credit for it, but he created this program called 90 Listings in 90 Days. And his entire team focus was in 90 days, they were going to go out there and try to get 90 listings. The thing that he said, I think they hit 80. They didn't get to the full 90, but he'll never do it again. He said he'll never do it again. And the biggest reason is when you switch like that and you have this massive switch, he actually started losing business because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because their focus was on something else. And now because their focus is on this, nobody was at bay prospecting anymore. So even though they had all this massive activity in the first 2 months, month 3, 4, 5, and 6, their activity completely depleted because they weren't doing the basics in the very beginning. They were not just prospecting and focusing on doing business. And that's something that I'm starting to relearn. Excuse me. I don't have a mute button here. Yes, I do. Look at that.
You're muted, Johnny. Hello?
Hi.
What are you doing?
You told me to turn around. So
I didn't.
You look so confused. I promise you did. Kevin, replay the video. Yeah, and I ended up completely, I wish you could see this mic. This mic is completely bent now. I just smacked it. But did you watch that happen?
Yeah.
That is something.
Probably not the best idea.
I don't know why now everything is all messed up.
It's okay.
Why did you tell me to turn around like that? This is not good. This isn't good at all.
Move your mic down to this side.
Oh, it is the mic. There you go. Good. Turn around. Anyway, so it's something that getting started, restarted, as I've been talking about in real estate, doing the basics. And I'll tell you, I'm right there with all the other agents, and you're soon to find this out too. Like, time is a commodity right now. I have so very little of it. And the one thing that I can't do is let it get in front of prospecting. And I've been coaching agents on this forever. But what do you think is the first thing that goes?
Yeah.
Prospecting. Why? Because it's time consuming.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing that takes up the time that you don't see immediate results for. And so in our brains, we're like, let's do something else, right?
That clicked in my head yesterday.
Good.
And like when you have like clients or you have deals going on, you might stop prospecting, right?
Yes.
Looking for new business.
Yep.
And yesterday, it was just something that was a topic of conversation. And like, my job is to prospect. That is my job. I am going to go out there and I'm going to get new business. Like, it has to be a priority basically every day.
Yep.
So, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, and it's fun, and for those
That's
of
part
you,
of being an agent. Yeah, for sure.
it's the only part. If you don't have, if you're not prospecting, you don't have clients. And
Yeah.
and again, and we're both, and FYI, for those that don't know, it's actually kind of neat. Both Summer and I are on completely different real estate teams
Yeah,
in
it's
two
actually
completely
really
different companies. And guess
Mhm.
what? It works.
Yeah.
It actually works really well
Yep.
because we have two different viewpoints on things, but now we know each other. And I don't know if some real estate agents have never figured this out, but just because you're on competing real estate teams doesn't mean that you can't still be friends together,
I know.
or do a podcast.
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, what is our job title? You
Yeah,
know, my job title isn't
I
what
can't
my
wait till you get a
title
listing and I get to negotiate against you. Though I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna win that negotiation.
Bring it on, Johnny. Bring it on.
The end of open house, right? That's when it ended. You
Yep.
wouldn't just take the 20,
And then
20,000
open
off.
house and I'll put open house the podcast. I'll
We'll
exclude
do
it.
it live. You know what'd be fun? Here's my challenge for you. Okay, here's my challenge. You go get that $600,000 Lake Orion property. I'll have a buyer for it because we'll have buyers, right? You do that,
No,
and
I'm
I
holding
would
an
love to.
open in a couple weeks in Lake
What's that?
Orion. I'm holding an open in a couple weeks, so I'll make sure you and your client get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, good. Well, I already sent you a message on the phone the other day looking for
Yeah, I
somebody
know. I
else.
just found out yesterday. Side notes: I just found out yesterday that we have a listing coming out.
Oh, good. So, but I would love, wouldn't it be great? You can invite Kevin. Kevin should be on the show.
Yeah,
Invite Kevin,
Kevin
and
would
we
love.
will. I wonder if we could do. I wonder. I should
Kevin,
probably
cue
shouldn't be saying
the
this live. What's that?
video. I just did what you did.
Did
Kevin,
you?
cue the video.
Yeah, there is.
No, yeah. So
We should. I would love to. I would want to make sure that's a different Kevin, by the way, than our
I know,
producer.
I
That's
know.
funny. I should. I gotta look this up. Does anybody out there know? Is there a legal could we? I'd love to have him on the podcast and negotiate a deal live on the podcast.
We could set up a game.
Somebody's calling me about it right now. Actually, that's funny.
Nice. We could set up a game. I actually think that's a great idea.
There we go.
Did you hear
Oh, I
me?
love that idea. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can now. But I gotta check with legal and make
No,
sure that.
we'll make it a game that's completely we'll just make up what is it?
Oh no, nope. The stakes aren't high enough. I
We
want to have a buyer
you
who is
can't.
out in a parking lot somewhere in a U-Haul,
You can't.
living out the back of that needs to be inside the home,
We
but they
can't
can't go
negotiate live.
$5 over, and
Yeah.
will negotiate their entire life live on this
We
show.
can't.
I love it.
Unfortunately, that's a big
You don't know
problem.
that though.
Unless
Don't live life by unwritten rules.
Unless the clients were like, yeah, go ahead and go tell the whole world all my personal financial business, which
Well,
won't happen.
you don't know that. I think it could. I think that's going to be the ultimate episode right there.
Mhm.
We'll have them. They'll be watching on Facebook to see if they got their house accepted or not. I think that's the best. Like, in order to see if you got this house in this highest and best, you have to follow my podcast and watch live on Wednesday to see if you got this house. I think it's a brilliant idea. I love it. I love it.
I think
Let's
it's
do
like
it.
a fun idea for sure, but I don't foresee any clients agreeing.
Well, then, it is that's where it goes back to legal.
It would
I'm
be
calling
really
legal.
fun, and I think we should make it a game.
I'm calling. I know you think that it should be. I'm calling legal as soon as the show is done. I'm calling legal and I'm asking them. And I wonder. Wait, can I film that? Oh, it's so many things. We need an attorney. We need to get one of those social media attorneys because that would be a great show right there. But anyway, going back to it, congratulations, by the way. It's fun being back in real estate. Now the one thing that I will warn you as with new, because you're not necessarily a new agent, but I would kind of consider you a new agent. You're in a new opportunity. You're kind of working for the first time. You've got stuff happening instantly, right? Which is really good. Make sure that you stick with that momentum and keep up with what you have going right now and add to it as much as you can right out the bat.
Yeah.
Because what happens a lot in real estate is we end up with this like lull. And this goes back to that emotional change for entrepreneurs. We go out with a bang, and you see this with a lot of new agents. They go out, they tell their friends and family, somebody out of nowhere says, yes, I got listings because they're trying to help. And they'll do all this business their year one. And then they're not doing any prospect, they're not following up, nothing happens, their pipeline dries up,
I
and then they're dead in the water.
absolutely refuse to be in any situation like that ever again. And
Yes.
if I
Good.
do find myself, that's the situation, I do not belong in real estate because
Well, yeah,
it's
okay.
true. Well, that's just who I am, and that's what I know about myself. If that's how I'm acting, and lulls are real. Now,
Yeah,
a whole year, no, that means I'm done. I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
gonna. I'm actually taking the privilege away from myself, and I need to go find something else that I'm gonna do because, like, that's just not okay. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yep.
Nope, I get it. I get it. But I think the problem is that some people aren't ever taught the basics. And this is why it's interesting. A lot of people have asked me, well, why did you join a team? If you talk to some of these team leaders out there, the first time that I ever interviewed Mark Z, and I asked him, if you were to restart, what would you do? And the first thing that he said, and I know that this is 100% true, the first thing he said is, I would find a team and I would join the team. Why a team over being an individual solo agent? Now, and people that have been following know, I sat down and did all the math. I added things up side by side. But your jump start, if you want to do the solo agent thing and take 3 to 5 years to start your business up, that's great.
Longer or never. I feel like that's where a lot of the statistics are. It's what 3%. 3% of solo agents actually sell real estate.
Yeah, it's low. And the reason is because they're out there wandering. They're by themselves. They never had the support. Now, some of them get lucky and they'll find somebody that comes alongside of them or a lender partner that will then start supporting them. But most of the agents that I know that were solo agents that made it had a lender partner that paid for all their leads. They still had somebody there that was covering all their leads for them. But then you have the solo agent.
No matter what, like, you need support when you're a realtor. It is very
especially when you're getting started.
Yeah. So support from a team leader or from business partners or whoever it is, in the lending side or title, all these things, you have to. And that's something I will forever wish that I did. I was join a team instead of being an individual agent. At the time, I didn't understand fully. And how it was explained to me and how everything was broken down. I was just 23 years old, to be honest. Like, I'm still learning a lot, and just in life in general, So, yeah, number one mistake, but also I wouldn't be where I was today if I didn't. So that's also another piece is like, I kind of went through that where I felt like I didn't have support. So I learned what I need and what I thrive out, like what type of environment, how I will thrive. And that's important to learn, right?
Yeah. No, it's true. And, the thing is I don't think anything along our paths is a mistake as long as we look at the path and say, okay, this is a learning experience. If we choose never to learn from it, that is the biggest mistake.
Right.
But as long as you say, nope, this was a learning experience, and now I know what I'm looking for. And that's exactly, I was in the same boat as you when I first got started in real estate. I was told something by a team leader. Team leaders back then, especially when it was a recruiting game, they're just trying to put agents in. They'd tell you anything that you wanted to hear because, so you get told, hey, you'll make $100,000 your first year, guaranteed, right? That sounds great. So the first company I got started for, they didn't have a training program. They told you that their gift to you was to sit at a desk, that they gave you a phone that you could have a phone, like to dial out, like a real corded, like, and I had a laptop. They didn't even have computers for agents. Like it was, but if you don't know, you don't know. And I was there.
I feel bad for I now will literally feel bad if I ever come across an agent or somebody that doesn't have support, because I understand now, you need support or
until you don't, and then you support somebody else.
Yeah, there's no way.
That's the game.
Unless you're okay with just putting out money for no reason all the time. It's easy to keep your license active and all
Yeah.
those things, but are you going to work? Are you going to, actually make this a career, get your money back? Is this actually a business, or is it you're just, licensed?
Is it another hobby that you're gonna have finished?
Look at
And it's
that,
gonna sit in
Johnny.
the drawer.
Full circle.
Look at that. Full circle.
Is
Speaking
it just
of hobbies,
another unfinished project?
Yep, there it is. I love that. That's great. Hey, let's end this on a positive note, though. I'm going to tell you the biggest fail I ever had. So I was young. I'll never forget this. So when I was a kid, there was, and I don't know if I've ever told this story. There was this thing called Sales Leadership Club. It might even still be around, and I think it's super great for kids. Mm-hmm. It was for young kids, and the way that it worked is every holiday they would send you a holiday, like a holiday magazine, and it would have stuff in there like the popcorn that you eat, and just little holiday trinkets. And they would send 2 magazines to your door. One magazine was toys and all the different things that you could get with points that you earned by selling the garbage holiday stuff to adults, right? So you would get this magazine, and in there, back when I was a kid, there was a CD boombox, and it was huge. And I remember it was like 3,000 points or something like that. So if you sell a pack of holiday cookies, that's 10 points. If you sell, the popcorn tin was 20 points, right? So the goal was to sell a bunch. Now, all that stuff was overpriced that you were selling to the adults. It was a brilliant scam on their behalf. But as a kid, like, I would have made more money going to Sam's Club and buying the candy bar thing and then selling candy bars for $1 than I did selling all this Christmas garbage. But I got what I wanted. I sold enough product to actually end up getting a CD boombox. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget this. My mom took me to her office, and she basically gathered everybody around. And I had never spoken in front of people or tried doing a sales pitch. I'm a very good one-to-one person. I really like doing one-to-one. And I'm 11 at this time, 10 or 11, right? So she brings me up front. And my mom was the one that always told me I was a good salesperson. I don't think I never wanted to be a salesperson, and I don't believe I'm a salesperson. That's why I consider myself a professional conversationalist. I am just, I like people. I'm a people person. I like to have conversations. So I'm up in front of her entire office with this magazine. And I just said, well, here's the magazine, buy some stuff. And then I set it down on the table. I got super embarrassed and nervous, and then I walked out. I'll never forget that. How embarrassing was that? And then luckily my mom, who was a trooper, she sat there and she must have convinced people to buy stuff, or they like imagine that, gathering everybody together, be like, come here, my son's here, he's got a speech he wants to make, and I'm like, buy stuff, and I just leave.
Yeah. No, honestly, as a kid too, you're like stressed out and you're like, screw this, I'm out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun. But listen, I know that we've got a heart out. I don't know if you can hear the music, but I know it's playing out there somewhere. Can you hear it? Oh, right on. Well, Summer, what time is it?
It's time to lock the door. We're gonna turn off the light. Let's pull the sign. We're ending open house.
And you should also follow both of us individually, as well, as we're on 2 journeys, pretty much starting over together. We'll see you guys next time on Open House Podcast.